Okay, here's the man, Ike Ekwonu. Can he wind up? Will he wind up? The first name you hear in Las Vegas, Nevada in the last week of April. He says he can go sub-5. Let's see if he'll do it.
He is fun to watch. He is nasty. It's around Jason Peters with the Philadelphia Eagles and body type athleticism. That's who he reminded me of.
Look at him go. He does run a sub-5 40. 4.97.
Doing this drill, and
how
you
much
can
does
kind
it
of tell.
hurt?
So
Does it look like they're
let's watch Ecom right here to see how smooth it is. You can see, is it painful? Is it easy? I mean, look at that face right there. I mean, there is no grimacing there. That's pretty smooth right there, pretty polished. And look at the footwork. It's like pistons, rapid fire, rapid fire. You didn't see the foot up in the air, not a huge step, and that's why you see with so much balance when you're watching him on film.
You need to pull back and deep and around down blocks that a lot of times when you're running some of these longer pull type plays, these powers, some of those toss crack.
Some guys like him. Wow, look at that. That was
speed. It just pops.
It's easy.
You're watching that. It just looks simple.
There.
It looks like he's a linebacker where they're chasing somebody down.
But
you're right.
Could be the first overall pick in the draft we're looking at right there.
You play with your classmates. All these things that you learned in kindergarten now are showing up here at the NFL Combine.
You got to get downhill.
Yeah, we're simulating a down block right here. 62 games he played in, more than anybody in the history of LSU. He was a right tackle, so this drill is all natural for him. Now you saw Charles Cross, he's a left tackle, so now he's got we saw Deculus do this drill. His hands were down around his thighs, and you can't do that. You got to be like a boxer. You got to have your hands up high.
Listen to
like
him
that.
hit the bag.
Every drill, there's one thing that
when they're really aggressive with their feet, you could see the black pellets coming from the turf.
Come on, move those feet. Come on, move. Cover
There
ground.
they are.
Cover ground. Be
Look at
fast. Be fast. Big eyes.
Cover ground.
Big eyes. Finish.
he's beating the drill right there. The feet are moving fast, but he's not moving a lot of ground.
You know, reminds me.
Process. Did you see Mahomes and go, that's the guy?
Now listen, again, I'm going to go back to Brett on this, even though Dorsey pulled the final trigger on it. But
right.
It went to Mike Leach. Bottom line is, there's enough there. Any line coach say, I'll work with that. We'll get right.
Guys, only 4 times in draft history since 1967 has an offensive lineman gone #1 overall. Ike Ekwonu has a good shot of being the 5th, huh?
Well, he told Stacey Dales that he kind of expects to be the #1 guy. What'd he say? It wouldn't surprise him at all. And Peter, I think that what we've seen from today, and not just on tape, of course, but today, he's checking that box like this, saying, I want to be that guy. Jackson,
this is your guy, and I think he's going to test very well right now.
Peter, he does the ground. They don't do a lot of pounding with it, but he does the ground. Had a chance to talk with him this week, and he did say, hey, out of that air raid, I can pass protect. The one thing I want to continue to work on is my run blocking. And how about Kenyon Green, guys?
In steps, and then also the pad level. As this drill goes on and the legs start to get a little heavy, are you raising up your pads, or are you able to stay down low? If you get a long pass play, you got to block for 5 seconds. If you block for Kurt Warner, that's pretty average.
Some of that movement. Here's Charles Cross showing you his wave drill here, that change of direction. Fun to watch the big guys go to work. Kenyon Green, another example here.
You're checking the hip flexion out of the stance, the ankle flexion, all of that. And then when they get to this cone, you can see Cross right there. He slowed up and chopped his feet.
A lot of times you're going to be running some sub offense, and you're going to have to pull out of a 2-point stance. You're going to have to pull out of a 3-point. If you're in contact and pass pro with your hands, you got to have both feet in the ground to be able to stop the defender. And so that's what we're watching here. The time
school. I mean, is there a better high school for an O-lineman to go to than White Castle?
No excuse if you're not over 300 pounds if you're going to White Castle High School.
Come on.
That second half, we had a great first half. Second half, we didn't do very well, and so that's my responsibility. But each guy, I listened to their comments after the game. They all took responsibility for it, whether it was on offense or defense.
Yeah, absolutely he did. And look, pass protection is his forte. He gets plenty of practice doing it at Mississippi State under their air raid offense led by the Pirate himself, Mike Leach. Footwork, impeccable. Look at the balance. Look at him just moving so gracefully, so easy at over 300 pounds. Got to pull and lead. The one thing he wants to work on is run blocking, because they don't do a heck of a lot of it at Mississippi State. Most of it is positioning, moving people, things of that nature. but I think he's got enough nasty in him. He'll be fine.
Even the pass blocking that they do, it's not really NFL pass blocking, so it might be a bit of a project, but I thought he moved very well. And look, he didn't sign on to do the air raid offense. He came.
Tour de force.
Okay, this is one I'm intrigued by here in Trevor Penning. 325 pounds.
4'9".
There we go. Yeah, and he has got the nasty to match.
This was pretty much the only thing he got to hit all day.
Yeah.
Was the vert.
I love how you said a little upset. It takes nothing for him to be upset. You know, just waking up in the morning angry.
Legs flat. Top. Moving. Come on.
You can hear it. Listen to the feet.
Cover ground.
Thump, 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 like pistons pumping out that turf. That was really fluid.
Always through.
Bad boy Pistons.
He suffered in the team's bowl game, Iowa's bowl game, January the 1st. He is shooting for their pro day, which is March 21st, to perform.
Down here in the sheet, I'm not giving him full credit. You've been thinking about that one for months.
When you have guys that are built like Orlando Pace.
I think have a chance to get into the top 10 is this big man right here, Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. 6'7", 325 pounds. Ended up again running an outstanding 40 time and then backed it up with this field workout where you can see just how athletic and how easy he moves for such a big man. So those were the... Charles talked about him. He's got the ability to play 4 of the 5 offensive line positions, and they love him at Texas A&M.
Marquise Hayes.
It overextended.
That looked like a smooth drill from Fortner
He's
right
a
there.
really good player, guys. I thought he's just plug and play. Some guys you watch him, I think it's going to be an easier transition for him.
One thing you'll notice, too, that the offensive line coaches are going to watch, they're going to watch that ankle flexibility, right? Can they get all their cleats in the ground? Because...
Quick feet. That is a big lower half on Kenyon Green. Joe, he's got a power generator down there.
Look, that's a dangerous job. I mean, you could lose a finger if you're not getting all the way in there. You got to get real friendly like Rich when you're taking.
Watch their hips. You don't want your hips to rise up, but you also do want to be able to make sure that you're getting enough depth.
He didn't redirect.
Come on, Kenyon. Come on.
Did not follow directions.
You're waiting.
Getting a little over himself, right?
Regroup. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Backing is really where you see
Here's
it.
Green. He's getting another shot at this drill.
So he's dropping his left foot too much,
All right.
and that's why his cleats are slipping out.
Well, Coach Stoutland told him to go regroup, and he came back and he regrouped.
Looking good. You know his hero
He had a
is?
good day.
You know, he's my favorite player out here. Just from watching him, just kind of taking everything in. I think he's probably the best one we've
I think he
seen
was
so
born
far.
in Cleveland, so he grew up watching some stud at left tackle.
In all seriousness, have you gone up to him? Because he says that you're his idol, Joe.
I'm letting him finish.
Where they're out of sync, are they benders and movers?
And last year, for instance, as we're watching these guys go through it, is this where Brett Veach, you were saying, as he was going through his career at Texas Tech, saying, take a look at this guy? And years before the draft is when he was beginning to maybe be.
Day 1 starting guard. The
Former high school golfer, too. 4. And here we go.
It's one of my
Kenyon
favorite
Green
guys.
doing his thing from Texas A&M. Played all over the line.
Yeah. Go ahead, Peter.
I got a text from another coach who said, screwed up a couple of the drills, but oh my gosh, is he good. And that's okay. This is not the drill you're going to do when you're actually blocking TJ Watt in a game. This guy can move, and he's got some finish to him, too. And Charles, you know how versatile he can be. He could play any spot on the offensive line, which is maybe the best asset when you're going into a draft for all these different teams.
Last couple of seasons, Texas A&M has really taken pride in their offensive line. The Maroon Goons 2020, when they competed for the college football playoff. Dan Moore starting at left tackle.
Offensive lineman done for the day at the combine, but let's push it out. Kenyon Green, kind of a difficult day for him on the field, but what about the bench? 20 reps at 225?
Yeah, it's always about arm length with these linemen. You know, you get the lineman with the shorter arms. Typically,
Bernard Ryman, Central Michigan.
He's a really good athlete, too.
Well, Andy Reid, who was just here, knows about a Central Michigan Chippewa offensive lineman. Took one once, number 1 overall, and nice 5-1-2. Bernard Ryman, Chippewa, 5-1
Time.
40.
And not just the time. Look at how smooth he was running.
Yeah.
Very
Sean Ryan.
One another, just loosening up and kind of doing some drills. And he put one of his fellow offensive linemen on the ground. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. It was some friendly fire.
Not making very friends, but he's about to make some money.
This looks good here with Ryman.
Yeah, Ryman, I mean, he's a
when he was like a freshman in high school, and he was, you know, was just this kind of big, heavy-set kid. And every year they saw him in high school, he just got better and better until they eventually offered him. He dominated the camp his last year there.
Yeah, he's raising the stakes. Maybe Penning gets up here, and now he's got to dump somebody. He's got to maintain the top man on the totem pole there.
Sean, you were talking about Ryman's punch here. What do you see?
Yeah, pretty good explosive power right there.
That he has talked to here and through this process have been more concerned about his body weight and where he is willing to weigh in at. I think, guys, he weighed in at about 296 this week.
Lineman, you know, you get the lineman with the shorter arms. Typically, you'll get more of the reps. That's a nice job there by Bernard Ryman. 30 reps at his length. Excellent
tight end right there doing that.
For a big offensive lineman.
Once again, Bernard Ryman from Austria.
There you go.
One of the best.
Might be
Obina Eze. TCU.
This kid's nasty on tape. Real physical, real tough. Plays a little bit too high.
Well, as you know, here
With so much balance when you're watching him on film.
Yeah, you want those feet to just kind of glide over the turf, right? You don't want them to pick their feet up way in the air because that's just wasted
See
time.
the heels right here? The heels are kind of coming together here.
Yeah, he was heel clicking right there.
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
A lot of times the reason those guys are clicking their heels, right, is because they realize they're not maybe.
You know, and you would do in the sandbox right here. Down blocker and then a puller. So the down blocker, what I'm looking at is the other side. So you're going to see a little versatility from some guys that maybe played on the left side, and then also a little edge for some of these guys that played on the right side.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are tackles, right?
Go, here we go. Move
Really smooth, really polished.
Move. Get going this way. Come on now. Here. Right here. Come back. Finish.
So we are here in Indianapolis. What you missed, and this is the first one that you missed. Joshua Azudu of North Carolina, the 5'2".
In the game of football, when you're in the trenches, you'd rather go 1 yard with 2 steps than 1 yard with 1 step, because in order to change directions, you got to have that outside foot in the ground. And if that foot's in the air and you're trying to gain longer strides and gain more ground to try to go faster, that's when you're going to get beat on those counter moves. Going to be some leakage, so you got to be able to get enough depth to be able to get around, and that all comes down to the hip mobility that these guys have. This drill will expose guys in the NFL that play on the inside were tackles in college, and so it's really important for these coaches to be able to see, hey, if we're projecting this guy who played tackle his whole career as a guard.
I want to watch his left foot, that first step right there. You see Fortner take a positive step. You don't want to lose any ground.
A lot of the guys in the NFL that play on the inside were tackles in college, and so it's really important for these coaches to be able to see, hey, if we're projecting this guy who played tackle his whole career as a guard, or maybe he was a left tackle, we want to put him at right guard. Like,
You know, we'd go through it and look at him and go, yeah, he's good, but he's got like another year or two left here before he's going to be eligible to come out here. So